The shocking secret history of North and South Korea, a tale of two lands, two brothers divided by war and blood. North and South Korea. You think you know the story? Well, let me tell you the part they never teach you in history books. Long before the split, before the missiles, and before the Iron Curtain of the 38th parallel, there was one Korea, a land of kings and scholars, a land where the mountains whispered ancient secrets. They called it the land of the morning calm. But oh, young'uns, calm it was not. In the mountain temples of Goguryeo, warrior kings forged blood oaths, ancient vows of power and vengeance. But when those oaths were broken, shadows of war descended. Brothers betrayed brothers, and alliances crumbled like sand. Hidden in the mountains of the north, ancient priests spoke of a prophecy, a child of both light and shadow who would decide the fate of Korea. But they did more than whisper. They conspired, guiding kings and assassins alike. The Shadow Guardians, an ancient order sworn to protect Korea's destiny, by any means necessary. But as time passed, they themselves were consumed by greed, becoming secret manipulators in both North and South. When the land split, the Guardians were divided. Some became advisors to the Kim dynasty in the north, while others hid in the south, controlling politics from the shadows. And in the midst of chaos, a child was born, the living artifact, a girl who could see beyond lies. But both North and South sought to control her. Her life became a deadly game of shadows. The mountains of the North became a battlefield. Northern assassins, Southern spies, and the Guardians clashed. Blood stained the snow, but even in chaos, the child's voice rang clear. "We are one people, not pawns of shadows." In her escape, the child found the hidden city of mirrors, a sanctuary of ancient knowledge, where she learned the truth of her destiny and the prophecy that threatened to tear Korea apart. But the world wasn't just watching. China, Japan, the United States, and Russia had their own spies, each seeking to manipulate Korea for their own gain. In the shadows, alliances shifted, and the child was a prize they all wanted. In the darkness of the mountains, a masked assassin appeared, a figure known only as the Mask. Some said he was a guardian, others a rogue agent. But the child soon learned he was something more, her protector. The mask revealed the truth. The child was not just a prophecy. She was the heir to a forgotten throne, a symbol of unity between the ancient kingdoms. But in the bustling streets of Seoul, betrayal struck. Those who claimed to protect the child turned against her, selling her to the highest bidder, spies from the north. But she was not alone. The mask fought beside her, his blades dancing in the moonlight, and together they carved a path through the darkness. Fleeing through secret tunnels beneath the city, the child learned of the true face of war. Not battles of armies, but whispers in the shadows. Betrayal for silver, and loyalty broken like glass. But her will did not break. She had become more than a child. She had become a symbol. Deep in the mountains, the Shadow Guardians gathered, a council of darkness. They plotted to use the child as a puppet, a false queen who would obey their will. But some among them whispered of rebellion. Even in the shadows there were those who still believed in the light. But the child, now a young leader, gathered her own allies, betrayed guardians, Southern rebels, and even spies who saw hope in her. She became a symbol, a spark that would set Korea aflame. The people spoke of her in whispers, the guardians feared her, and the mountains carried her name. The girl who was meant to be a puppet had become a queen, now a young leader, gathered her own allies, betrayed guardians, Southern rebels, and even spies who saw hope in her. She became a symbol, a spark that would set Korea aflame. The people spoke of her in whispers, the guardians feared her, and the mountains carried her name. The girl who was meant to be a puppet had become a queen of shadows and light. The child's voice echoed through the mountains, but whispers spread faster. The shadow guardians, fearing the light she carried, sent assassins into the night. Some came with daggers, others with poison, and yet some with honeyed words, all trying to turn her dreams to ash. But young'uns, the child had learned not to trust shadows. Each betrayal made her stronger, each lie a lesson. And in the darkness, she found those who believed in her. Farmers who had lost their land, soldiers who had seen through the lies, and spies who chose hope over fear. But her greatest challenge was yet to come. Hidden deep within the Guardian's fortress was a secret even they feared, a mirror that didn't just reflect faces, it reflected truths. The mirror of truths wasn't just an artifact, it was a weapon. Those who gazed into it saw their true selves, their darkest desires, their hidden fears, and the lies they told even to themselves. When the child stood before it, the guardians thought she would fall, broken by the weight of her own doubts, but she didn't flinch. She saw her fears, her loneliness, her anger, her sorrow, and embraced them. "I am more than your shadows," she whispered. And with that, the mirror cracked. The guardian's power shattered, and the truth was laid bare. Some guardians fell to their knees weeping. Others fled, their shadows exposed to the light. But one figure remained, the mask. His face, revealed, was a man once betrayed by the guardians, her father. The mask removed his mask, his voice trembling. "I thought I could protect you from the shadows, but I became one of them." Tears filled the child's eyes, but she did not hate him. "Father, you can still choose the light," she whispered. But even as they embraced, a shadow rose, the High Guardian, furious, wielding a blade darkened with poison. He lunged at the child, but the mask stepped forward, taking the blade meant for his daughter. The room fell silent. The child cradled her father as he smiled, his voice a whisper. "Be the light, my child. Be the light." His hand fell, his breath faded, and the darkness trembled. The guardians had lost their strength, and the light had found a hero. But victory was not yet won. News of the guardians' fall spread, and chaos erupted across Korea. Some called for the child to become queen, a symbol of hope. Others saw her as a threat, a reminder of secrets they wished to bury. In the north, the generals whispered of war. In the south, politicians debated whether to capture her or crown her, but she did not run. Instead, she spoke, her voice clear as the mountain wind. "Korea has been a land of whispers and shadows for too long. I am not here to rule, I am here to set you free." Her words spread like wildfire. Farmers, soldiers, and scholars flocked to her side. Even those who once hunted her now knelt before her banner. But in the shadows, the last of the guardians whispered of one final weapon, a curse buried beneath the mountains. The child's followers marched for the mountains, but the ground trembled. An ancient magic buried for centuries stirred beneath the earth. The guardians, desperate to cling to power, had unleashed a force they could not control. Mountains cracked, shadows twisted, and a dark mist spread, poisoning the land. Warriors who touched it fell screaming, their faces twisted in terror. But the child did not falter. She spoke of light, of courage, of unity. Her voice cut through the darkness like a blade. "We are one people, not slaves to shadows." Her allies took up the cry, their courage a shield against the darkness. And as the mist closed in, the child walked forward, a beacon of light. And as the mountain shook, her light broke the curse, scattering the darkness like mist in the morning sun. And so, the child who was meant to be a pawn, who was hunted and betrayed, became a legend. Her light shattered the darkness, her courage united the divided, and her voice echoed across the mountains. Her name was whispered in the fields of the south, sung in the valleys of the north, and remembered in the hearts of the people. But she never claimed a throne, never wore a crown. She became a symbol, the light of Korea. The guardians, once powerful in their shadows, were nothing but a memory. Some fled, some repented, and some were forgotten in the darkness they tried to control. And the child. She walked the mountains, a humble traveler, bringing hope where there was despair, light where there was darkness. Her story was told, not as a queen's tale, but as a hero's journey. And young'uns, that's the tale of the child who became the light of Korea, not by power, but by courage. So when you think of North and South Korea, remember, it's not just a tale of war and whispers. It's a story of shadows shattered by a child's courage, a land saved by the light of hope. And maybe, just maybe, that light is still out there, waiting for the day when all shadows will fade.